you know, how much advertisers are willing to pay. We have no feedback, except for the guy, you know, who won $10 in free poker chips at a local game to be established in the near future because he called in. So call in. I've never met with any serious, no. I mean, I've only heard positive things except from people I know closely.
And when we play local music, no one complains that we're not paying them for playing their music.
That is our master engineer, Doc Adams. He just spoke up. When we play local music, nobody complains. In fact, people are very happy because we do play a lot of local music. And that's a venue to get music heard at. So that's all I got.
So what do you... Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say I'll just second what they said.
So what do you think are some possible solutions for people who don't necessarily want to be criminals on the one hand, but also find themselves, you know, tied down creatively on the other? Are laws changing, or are things in stasis? Are there alternatives? What's happening?
Well, one quick thing I could suggest is this organization called CreativeCommons.org. CreativeCommons.org is a site that was set up 6 years ago, nonprofits. The site is CreativeCommons.org. That makes it really easy to generate legal contracts that basically allows you to tag your book or your song or your video or whatever with a signal to the audiences what they can do with it. So in other words, it's a way of creating a lawyer-free zone by saying, for instance, I tagged my last book, Freedom of Expression, with a Creative Commons license, and with my publisher's permission, Random House, they allowed me to put the entire PDF of the book online, so anyone can download it, which is great, especially because it doesn't get distributed to developing countries. And in fact, that's where I get a lot of emails from people who get access to this book. And again, you know, remember, like, capital is a barrier to access. I mean, you know, money is a barrier to freedom of expression, and this is one way around it, in which Creative Commons makes it really easy for you to generate a legally binding contract that tells audiences you can remix my work or whatever. And there's if Google, Yahoo, for instance, and I'm answering your specific question, like, what resources do I have to not be a criminal? Google, Yahoo, they all have Creative Commons searches. So you can do Creative Commons searches for images. Photographers who are fine with you using your footage, their film, or their photos and whatever. Same with filmmakers, same with musicians, etc. Who signal to you, yeah, it's fine for you to use my work in your work. And I think that's probably the best, sort of shortest avenue I can point to that would help you out.
I have a couple of specific things in the manifesto about it. And first of all, it goes back to money, but the laws that are made regarding copyright and trademark are basically written by lobbyists for the companies with the most to gain from them. So the two things that I would like to see is for fair use to be fleshed out as a principle. Fair use in copyright laws means that you can quote something in passing, or you can use part of something as a way to comment on that, to parody it. And Kembrew probably knows the full text. But that fair use has been whittled away on, and you can't claim fair use. You have to defend fair use. You can't just claim it.
Yeah, can I add something?
Yeah.
So, for instance, I started making this film with my documentary partner, Ben Franzen, Copyright Criminals. It's finally finished, and it premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival a couple weekends ago. It's going to be on PBS January 2010. And when we first started, fair use in documentary filmmaking had been completely whittled away. But what's really inspiring, and I can just point to this one example, but it's happening in other areas of culture and other communities of practice. Documentary filmmakers got together and wrote a statement about best practices for fair use in documentary filmmaking, which allowed for, basically my colleague Sasha Waters and Sasha Waters-Fryer, and she's a documentary filmmaker. She had a documentary on PBS before this statement came out, and she wanted to make one fair use quotation of a 60 minutes clip that was pertinent to her documentary. It's clearly a fair use, but she went through hell just trying to get that one little chunk on there. But because the community of documentary filmmakers organized and basically spoke for themselves, because when communities speak for themselves, courts listen. Courts listen to what communities say is right and wrong, basically. And it has allowed, for instance, my film to hopefully get on the air unless PBS chickens out because of copyright issues. And it has, over 400 unlicensed quotations of bits of songs and footage and stuff like that. That would be unimaginable just 5-6 years ago. And it only happened because, people got together at a grassroots level and spoke for themselves. And what Kent was saying sort of pushed back and expanded the scope of fair use.
The second thing I wanted to add about that is that the copyright laws have been changed to extend indefinitely the terms of copyrights. You can keep renewing copyrights forever, which did not used to be the case. It used to be there was a whole body of stuff that was produced in your lifetime that you'd be familiar of because of your own cultural context that you could reuse and remix any way you want, and that's completely gone. And we can blame Sonny Bono for that before he ran into a tree.
Okay, we have one more question.
My question has to do in part with quantity. I think our fourth speaker said if you make the sound beep, you can copyright that. Now, that's unfathomable to me, that a physical phenomenon, beep, that somebody can, quote, own that or have copyright privilege for it.
You can't
it would be
that, by the way. I copyrighted it.
Sorry, I violated it all again. But I open this book and I see the word the. Somebody can copyright the word the, or in the musical context, the heirs of the woman who wrote the song Happy Birthday to You some years ago filed suit because that was written in the 1800s, but the woman never received any royalties. It was would be in the public domain now, I'm sure, but
It's not.
how many notes in a row, or what kind of a quantity of a phrase or a unit constitutes a theft? If you're dealing with a small enough unit, it surely can't be considered copyrightable.
It is.
Yeah.
Putting the copyright on what I just did.
Well, not really, but
Not
yeah.
really. But they've been going around suing summer camps for the songs kids sing around campfires because they're copyrighted songs.
I mean, there are several
Ask
thousands of dollars of royalties that need to be paid if you want to air a television show that contains, say, the song Happy Birthday, or if you want to have a restaurant where the waiters or waitresses, what have you, sing Happy Birthday to you at your table. That's why many chain restaurants have their own little absurd songs that they'll sing. It's for that reason. It's thousands of dollars that you may have to pay to somebody. As for your question is the same as mine, though. How do you quantify a unit of sound as belonging to a particular person? I mean, if it's a very it's a particular sound, how do you do that?
Yeah, well, it's a great philosophical question, and the legal answer is in the Sixth Circuit. Even a half second of sound that's copied from a sound recording is simply and straightforwardly copyright infringement. And that has to do with the trajectory of that we've been headed over the course of the 20th century towards fencing in every imaginable idea, sound, image, whatever, and privatizing culture.
And I actually am a BMI artist, and I've never thought about it before this panel, but I am going to make a composition that's one sample long with my favorite number, and I'm going to copyright it. So then everyone else is screwed.
Tack, did you have something you wanted to add? Okay, well, thank you everyone so much for coming to the Iowa City Public Library today.
Nice to meet you.
I just want to thank our panelists once again, Tack-Fu and Chaircrusher from 85 Decibel Monks, Marco Maisto from Pirate Radio, and Kembrew McLeod from the University of Iowa. And remember, Pirate Radio tonight at the Mill, 9 o'clock, for a benefit concert. Thank you, everyone.